Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Hope you're doing well. My name is Mark and in this video we're going to be talking about maintenance. I'll show you exactly how I perform my weekly maintenance with 5 planted tanks, and along the way I'll give you some tips and tricks how you can make your maintenance sessions easier. But first, let's talk about why we need to perform regular maintenance. First and foremost, we need to prevent the buildup of waste organics. And for the most part, that waste is coming from our fish and other inhabitants. But our plants also produce waste, so we need to remove that by doing large frequent water changes. Secondly, we need to prevent the buildup of plant nutrients. So in general, we usually dose more liquid fertilizer than our plants need. And if we would continue doing that without changing water, those nutrients will build up and eventually cause algae. Third, we need to keep our plants in check and prevent them from overgrowing. If we will not trim our plants, they will just continue growing and lead to all sorts of problems. Lastly, we of course need to perform regular maintenance for aesthetic reasons, because a well-maintained aquarium just looks a lot better. Now let's talk about how I maintain my planted tanks. So I quite enjoy maintaining them and I see it as part of my weekend schedule. So I like to perform my maintenance on either a Saturday morning or a Sunday morning, and I'll just put up some music and just forget about everything else. And one of the most important things with maintenance, I think, is time. How much time do you have and how much time are you willing to spend on maintenance? And the amount of time that I spend on maintenance really depends on a lot of things. For example, how mature is the aquascape? Like a newly set up system usually takes a bit more time to maintain than a tank that has been running for months already. Another example is the amount of trimming that has to be done. Trimming the plants takes a lot more time than just a regular water change. So let's just take a close look at each aquascape and how I maintained them last weekend. Let's start with the Dutch style Nano. Now before I get to work, I like to take a few minutes and just sit down in front of the tank and just observe what has to be done. So in this case the plants were trimmed recently, so there is no need for that. But we do have quite a bit of algae on the glass, on the filter inlet and outlet, and on the diffuser as well, so we need to clean that. The reason the algae appeared is because I have been dosing the same amount of liquid fertilizer as before the plants were trimmed. And ideally, after you trim the plants, you should reduce the liquid fertilizer, since you have a lot less plants. So sometimes I forget to listen to my own advice. Let's get to work. The first thing I do is remove everything that's on the glass. This is usually the diffuser, the drop checker, as well as the lily pipes. And the glass lily pipes will go straight into a bucket with warm water and some bleach. After that I remove about 10% of old water, just so we can move around in the aquarium without spilling anything. I will siphon this water out with a small hose into a bucket next to me. If needed, I can use this water to clean any filter media or to place any plant trimmings. Now we can start cleaning the glass. I'll clean the majority with my Dennerle cleanator sponge, and I'll clean the other hard to reach areas with a toothbrush or a card. Now that the glass is clean, all that algae is floating around in the water column, so we can remove that with a large water change. Now ideally you would use this water for the garden, which I unfortunately don't have, so here we go straight down the toilet. After that I use the same hose to fill it back up with fresh tap water that is at the right temperature. I attach the hose to a return pump that goes in a bucket in my kitchen sink. This is super easy and it only takes a few seconds to fill the tank back up. Now we just need to clean the lily pipes with a special brush and rinse off any of that bleach, and then we can place them back onto our filter. I basically do the exact same thing with the diffuser, but on a smaller scale. I soak the diffuser in a glass jar with some warm water and a bit of bleach, and I always keep the CO2 running. This way it sort of cleans itself, and we know for sure that there is no bleach back siphoning in the diffuser. Soak it for a few minutes and then rinse it in clean water. The last step is to clean the water surface with a skimmer, and then we are done. All in all, that didn't take longer than 20 minutes. Now the first tank was easy, so now we're all warmed up for our next big task. And this one has not seen a pair of scissors in over 6 weeks and is suffering from some hair algae issues. The plan here is to trim a lot of plants, clean our inlet and outlet, clean the diffuser and remove as much of the hair algae as possible. Then clean the glass and finish with a big water change. When it comes to trimming a planted tank, I prefer to start with the background and finish with the foreground. That's because the foreground usually gives the biggest mess, especially if you have a carpet. I start by trimming the red stem plant, the Ludwigia Mini Super Red, and I'll save some of these stems and replant them later after we are done. Next up is the Hygrophila pinnatifida, and this is the fastest growing plant in here and needs to be trimmed back quite aggressively. I also want to thin out the long leaves of the crypt green as they are blocking some light and some flow. And the last part of the trimming session is the carpet of dwarf hairgrass. The next step is to remove as much of the hair algae from the moss. I've recently added a few large Amano shrimp in this tank, and I hope that if I remove the majority of the hair algae, the Amanos will take care of the leftovers. To finish it all up, we do the same as before: clean the glass, do a large water change, clean the surface with a skimmer, reinstall the lily pipes and diffuser, and then we are done. Then we have 3 more Nano aquascapes to go, but I don't want to bore you guys with repeating the same things again, so here is a quick summary. The first 20 liter scape had a trim about 2 weeks ago, so there's not much work needed here. Just clean in the glass, clean the filter inlet and outlet, quick water change, and that's it. By the way, with these small tanks, I don't use the large hose and return pump to do the water changes. I just use a bucket and a smaller diameter hose. Then we have my longest running cube. This one requires so little maintenance that I could have easily skipped it this week. It is on the edge of overgrown, but I think I can wait another week for sure. So the only thing I did was just a quick water change and some glass cleaning. Then lastly we have the 10 liter no filter cube. I skipped this one last week, so the glass has a small coat of algae, and the only thing I want to do here is remove some moss as it is growing a bit too big. And that is it, 5 aquascapes maintained. This time it took a little bit longer because I wanted to film everything, but normally I can do all 5 in an hour if I don't have to do any trimming. One thing you didn't see me do here is clean the filters, and to be honest with you, I rarely ever clean them. I will only clean them if I notice that the flow of the filter is getting less and less, but overall my tanks are just stocked with shrimp and a few small fish, so rarely does it ever get very dirty. I am curious how much time you guys spend on your weekly maintenance, so comment down below how many tanks you have and how much time you spend on it. I hope that by watching this video you have learned something new that you can apply to your own maintenance routine. As always, if you have any more questions, comment down below. If you know somebody that needs to watch this video, please share it with them. Also, don't forget to like the video, this really helps to bring the video to a wider audience. Subscribe to the channel if you did not do this yet. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.